What if I told you there's a science-backed staging strategy that can help a home sell faster? And not just a little faster, but way faster. It works by tapping into a hidden biological response in buyers. So let's dive in and unpack how it all works.
You know that feeling, right? You walk into a room and without even really thinking about it, your shoulders just kind of drop, you take a deeper breath, and you just feel at ease, an immediate sense of calm. That's the exact feeling we're talking about today.
And here's the thing, that feeling isn't some happy accident. It's not just a fluke of good interior design. It's actually a predictable primal response happening deep inside your brain. And, understanding that response is the key to everything we're about to cover. Okay, so let's break down exactly what causes this just feels right feeling. We're going to unlock why some spaces connect with us on this much deeper, almost instinctive level. Here's the core idea. For thousands and thousands of years, our survival literally depended on our ability to read the natural world. Our brains evolved to see things like wood, stone, and living plants as good signs, signs of safety, shelter, resources. And that ancient wiring, it is still very, very much active today. So when we intentionally use this biological instinct in home design, we're actually using a really powerful strategy. It's got a name, and it's called biophilic staging.
Biophilic staging isn't just about making a house look pretty with a few plants. No, it's about making it feel right on a subconscious level. By using these natural elements, you're intentionally triggering that feeling of calm and safety, which helps a potential buyer feel instantly at home.
So, how do we actually do this? Well, the whole strategy really boils down to two key things that our brains are incredibly responsive to: texture and patterns. Let's look at each one.
First up, texture. I want you to think of texture as a kind of nonverbal language. When a buyer sees and can imagine feeling natural textures, their brain gets these quiet signals of warmth, safety, and permanence. It's a deep emotional cue that says, hey, this is a stable, comfortable place to be. And the best part is, this doesn't require a huge budget at all. Think about the warmth that comes from a reclaimed wood table, or the earthy, grounded feeling of a jute rug. That cool, solid feel of a stone countertop. Even really small details, like some linen pillows or unglazed clay vases, can totally transform a room from feeling kind of sterile to really soulful.
Okay, next up, let's talk about patterns, specifically something called fractals. Now, I know that sounds a little sciencey, but stick with me. Fractals are just the repeating geometric patterns you see everywhere in nature, like the veins on a leaf, the branches of a tree, or the spiral of a shell. Our brains are hardwired to find these patterns incredibly calming. And get this, studies show that because they're orderly but also complex, looking at them can literally reduce our stress and improve our focus.
And bringing these into a home is actually super simple. It could be a gallery wall of botanical prints or just a few leafy plants placed strategically. Even a tile backsplash with a repeating natural design counts. These elements create this subtle visual rhythm that makes a space feel both alive and deeply, deeply soothing.
All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? Oh yeah, it does. Let's look at a real-world example that shows just how crazy effective this strategy can be.
So picture this. There was a perfectly nice home, right? But for whatever reason, it just wasn't connecting with buyers. It sat on the market for weeks, it got plenty of showings, but zero offers. Crickets. You can imagine the sellers were getting pretty frustrated.
The agent decided to try a biophilic approach. Now, they didn't do a massive renovation, nothing crazy. They just made some small strategic swaps. They replaced synthetic, man-made items with natural ones. We're talking simple things, stone coasters, a few more wood accents, and bringing in some live greenery.
And the result? After making these simple, nature-inspired changes, the house sold in just 3 days. Think about that for a second. It went from weeks of silence to a signed offer in less than 72 hours. A complete 180.
And here's the absolute best part. When the agent asked the buyers why they chose this house over all the others, their answer was the exact phrase we started with. They couldn't really explain it, but they said it just felt right. The biophilic staging had perfectly tapped into that subconscious response. It worked.
So as we start to wrap this up, the big takeaway here is to stop thinking of nature as just decoration. Instead, I want you to start thinking of it as a strategic partner in the selling process. You see, every home has a story to tell, but buyers don't just hear that story with their ears. They have to feel it. Using these natural textures and patterns builds an emotional bridge. It allows you to communicate warmth, comfort, and stability without ever saying a single word.
So the next time you're in a space, don't just notice what you see, pay attention to what you feel. By learning to speak this natural nonverbal language, you can unlock a much deeper story. And that leaves us with one final question. What story is your home waiting to tell?